Oh, it started now. Okay. So this is our last part of the Avanti Brahmana seminar or series of lectures. And we have about 60, 20, 61. We have 20 verses actually to go through, so we will not read all the purports, but we will read verses, and I will not read Sanskrit also. So now this is the most important part of all, this last part. But there was celebrations, so not many devotees are able to come. Okay, so I will just read Sanskrit of the first verse, this 41. Leave it. Paribhuta imam gatam agayata radamaihi patayapi svada dritim hastaya sattvikim. Even while being insulted by these low-class men who were trying to effect his downfall, he remained in his spiritual duties. Fixing his resolution in the mode of goodness, he began to chant the following song. So we are at the beginning of the song of the Avanti Brahmana. And immediately the commentators of this verse, Vidananda Maharaj and Gopi Paranadana Prabhu, immediately quoted the verse 1833 in the Bhagavad Gita, which describes the determination in the mode of goodness. So for us, we want to have this determination in the mode of goodness. That means unbreakable determination. That means that nothing can actually stop this determination. So this is also mentioned here, unbreakable determination, which is unbreakable and which is sustained with steadfastness, and thus control the mind, life, and the acts of the senses is in the mode of goodness. So here the Naradamas, or people who are envious of devotees, are described, and they were actually insulting the Avanti Brahmana, Naradamas, the lowest among men. Now, people, ordinary people, they think that when they satisfy, then they will become peaceful. So by satisfying their senses, they become peaceful. And they may be peaceful after eating or after sexual intercourse for some time, but actually because the way they are satisfying their senses is sinful, then this will not bring them peace. This will bring them more suffering, and this will bring them reactions. And also it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, is like when you pour oil on fire, it burns more and more. Similarly, if you pour more sense gratification, it exposes to more sense gratification. Then actually they want more and more and more. Then people are with ordinary sense gratification, then they want some perverted sense gratification, intoxication. In the beginning you start with some soft drugs, then you go to harder, you go to heroin, and then you go to harder and harder drugs, and then a crash, you actually kill yourself completely. So okay, so the song of Brahmana is starting, and I'm glad that more of you have come, because this is the most important part. The whole chapter is the Avanti Brahmana, and this song starts at the verse 4 and goes until the verse 50 something or 60. I mean, the last verse is 61, but it stops earlier. Okay, I will not read Sanskrit. I will not read all the purposes, only the most important ones. At least those which I have chosen. The Brahmana said, "These people people are not the cause of my suffering, my happiness and distress. Neither are the demigods, my own body, the planets, earth or time. Rather, it is the mind alone that causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life. The powerful mind actuates functions of the material modes from which evolve the different kinds of material activities in the modes of goodness, ignorance and passion. From the activities in each of these modes develop the core statuses of life. Now, verse 43 has a very important purport. It's not long. And I want to welcome all devotees who are watching also on the internet, and also all of you. Can say chanting and carrying the sound bath like this. So even neighbors we are celebrating by throwing this petard. How you call it? How you call it? Explosion?
No, like
Petarda, yeah, petarda. But no, in German, how you call it?
in German, like Knallauge, Feuer. Yeah, so Böller.
Hare Krishna. Listen to this very, very interesting purport. In the mode of goodness, one considers oneself to be saintly or wise person. We don't have that problem. In the mode of passion, one struggles for material success. We don't have that problem. And in the mode of ignorance, one becomes cruel, lazy, and sinful. We also don't have that problem. Almost. By the combination of the material modes, one identifies himself as a demigod, a king, a rich capitalist, a wise scholar, etc. These conceptions are material designations generating from the modes of nature. What did you say? Bala?
Böller.
Okay, the word balia in this verse means very strong, so it has the powerful mind. Powerful, very powerful mind. Can find where it is here. Balia, first line. Strong, manaha, indicates that the material mind becomes insensitive to intelligent advice. Do you understand this? This is such a practical thing. So I mean, they have made commentaries to these verses, commentaries of the Acharyas. So I'm sure this is from the Acharyas, this point, because see how they explain. It says the word Balia indicates that the mind has become insensitive to a good advice or intelligent advice. Yes, intelligent advice. Even if we are informed that we are committing many sins and offenses in order to earn, we may still think that money should be acquired at all costs, since without it one can neither religious ceremonies nor gratify the senses with beautiful women, mansions and vehicles. Once the money is achieved, one suffers further problems, but the sufferer never heed good advice in this regard. One must therefore give up mental concoction and control the mind in Krishna, as exemplified here by the Brahmana from. So people are so proud that they have a car, wives, cars, and money. And there is one rich businessman who has 600 restaurants. I think all over the world, or something like that. And they ask him, do you fear? I mean, how do you feel in these times? And so he is feeding some of his employees in one of the companies, but he has many companies, many restaurants. And he's worth, all assets, his assets are worth like $2 billion. And then they ask him, but why you are laying off people, or laying off means firing people. He's fired some people. And then he said, yes, I have so much in assets, but who will buy this now? Nobody will buy. I have yachts, I have houses, I have cars, I don't know what else he has. And then, afraid, he said, I'm not afraid of anything, but I worry about everything. So worry is also fear. So the more you have, the more you are in anxiety to not lose it, and we don't have that problem. So what do we have? How much do you have in bank?
How much? 2,500.
How much?
2,500.
3,000.
No.
How many houses do you have?
Houses?
Yeah.
I don't have.
You don't have a house. Who has a car? Very Madhava Prabhu, do you have a car?
No, Prabhu.
In India, no?
Look, this is summer, but my shirt is torn. So if I go like this one, I am there.
And who has more than one wife? I don't have even one. So people have so many things, but it is described in the Bhagavatam. I can't remember Sanskrit. In the second canto, it is all these are fallible soldiers. From the Bhagavatam, Atogriha Kshetra Sutapta Vitair Janasya Moho Yamaha Mameti. Janasya Moho, all people are illusion that I'm this body and everything related to this body is mine. Aham Mameti. What is this? Kshetra, Suta, Apta, Vita. Home, property, sons and daughters, relatives, and wealth. I'm attached to these things. And sometimes devotees that I coach say, I want to become rich for Krishna. And then sometimes maybe they can make some money, sometimes not. Or sometimes they become rich and they forget about Krishna. They say, Krishna already has so much, why should I give him? I don't have so much. I was always poor and finally I have something. So, Krishna has so many donors and Krishna has everything. So these things are but not for a devotee. And devotee will use everything in Krishna's service. Present, along with the struggling mind within the material body, the super soul is not endeavoring because he is already endowed with transcendental enlightenment. Acting as my friend, he simply witnesses his transcendental position. I, the infinitesimal spirit soul, have embraced this mind, which is the mirror reflecting the image of the material world. Thus, I have become engaged in enjoying objects of desire, and I am entangled due to the modes of nature. Ask, how can I control the senses? The answer is you have to control the mind. Control the mind. Mind is about the senses according to Bhagavad Gita, and that means that you can control the senses. But just see this description, this is amazing. The mind never comes under the control of anything. He is stronger than the strongest. And his godlike power is fearsome. Godlike power. Bewildered and create useless quarrel with others. Thus they conclude that other people are either their friends, their enemies, or parties indifferent to them. So now all these people who are torturing him, he's just describing how he is conditioned with his mind. Such an intelligent person becomes so intelligent. Who can think like this? Imagine somebody's torturing you and you sit and think, well, it's not them. Responsible. My mind is responsible. My choices are responsible. That's amazing. This thinking, it's amazing. Persons who identify with the body, which is simply the product of the material mind, are blinded in their intelligence, thinking in terms of I and mine, because of their illusion of this I, but that is someone else. This is I and this is someone else. They wander in endless darkness. And now, all these things that he has listed in the few verses before, in this first verse, he says, who is not the cause of his happiness, and that the mind is. Now he is describing each and every one of them. So this section is also very important. Now we are already on the verse 50. If you say that these people are the cause of my happiness and distress, then where is the place of the soul in such a conception? It's an amazing question. This happiness and distress pertain not to the soul, but to the interactions of material bodies. So the soul shouldn't be disturbed by what happens to the body, on between the bodies. If someone bites his tongue with his own teeth, like this, he becomes angry in his suffering. Again, taking responsibility, yes, I'm my own enemy, or my mind is my own enemy. My choices are my own enemy. I'm just looking at the purport. Okay, next verse. If you say that the demigods who rule the bodily senses cause suffering, still how can such suffering apply to the spirit soul? This acting and being acted upon are merely interactions of the changeable senses and their presiding deities. When one limb of the body attacks another, with whom can the person in that body be angry? Imagine this hand attacks this hand. And now I'm angry at Bhakta Philip. Why you are looking at my hands like this? And why you are making my hand hit the other hand? So again, taking responsibility for his own misery. It's amazing way of thinking. It's just incredible. Now, more difficult philosophically points are coming. If the soul himself were the cause of happiness and distress, then we could not blame others, since happiness and distress would be simply the nature of the soul. According to this theory, nothing except the soul actually exists, and if we were to perceive something besides the soul, that would be illusion. Therefore, since happiness and distress do not actually exist in this concept, why become angry at oneself or others? Okay, this is a little bit more complicated. I want to read the purport. It's short purport. We are doing well on time. Because a dead body does not feel pleasure or pain, our happiness and distress are due to our own consciousness, which is the nature of the soul. So remember that our happiness and distress are due to our own consciousness. It is not, however, the original function of the soul to enjoy material happiness and suffer material distress. These are produced by ignorant material affection and enmity based on false ego. Our involvement in sense gratification drags our consciousness into the material body, where it is shocked by the inevitable bodily pains and problems. On the spiritual platform, there is neither material happiness nor distress. There, the living consciousness is fully engaged without personal desire in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. This is the actual position of happiness, aloof from false bodily. Rather than uselessly becoming engaged with others for one's own foolishness, one should take to self-realization and solve the problems of life. So imagine you are passing a place where the movie's made. People make the movie, there's cameras, there's a director, there's actors, and all of a sudden they drag you into this and say, you have to play this role. And all of a sudden they give you some dress and put a little makeup, and all of a sudden they give you identity. And you say, what shall I do? You have to play Pirate of the Caribbean. And then you start to think, oh, how can I do this? Or maybe Johnny Depp, and maybe I should smile, or I should be witty, or whatever. And you try to play this role, and at the same time, you identify with this role very strongly. So similarly, we are dragged into the material body, and of course we wake up. I mean, when we get out of the womb, then there is a mother, there is the whole thing, so we think I'm the baby and things like that. So you're dragged into by the laws of nature, by the laws of karma, and you're forced to identify with this. If you were a king in your past life, and all of a sudden you're born, Prabhupada used to say this many times, a president of the state was born, I don't know, like a dog in Sweden. President of some state was born as a dog in Sweden. So imagine, one life you're president, the next life you're born as a dog in Sweden, and then maybe you still have some remembrance, which is rare, and you think, how can I be a dog? No, nobody's respecting me. People are throwing stones at me or whatever. They're giving me bones and I want to eat. They want to eat meat. So now presently you have certain body and you have been identified, but now you have been hearing for so many years that you are not this body, and you're a little bit not identifying with this body. And if somebody tells you something, like if a Krishna conscious person is insulted about the shape of his body, he is not insulted very much. Like for example, if you insult the materialist and tell him you are ugly, he will get mad at you and he will break your nose and he will make sure that you are also ugly. But if you insult the body with such a thing, says you are ugly, you are skinny, you are fat, then you say, oh, thank God I am not this body. Because he doesn't identify. Okay, next verse. And if we examine the hypothesis that the planets are the immediate cause of suffering in this sense, remember astrology? Planets? Then also, where is the relationship with the soul who is eternal? After all, the effect of the planets applies only to things that have taken birth. Expert astrologers have moreover explained how the planets are only causing pain to each other. Therefore, since the living entity is distinct from these planets and from the material body, against whom should we vent his anger? So you are angry at your astrological chart. or you become by your astrological chart. You have a reading astrological and you say, I'm completely lost. I will be unsuccessful. My karma is bad. But Krishna didn't change your karma. Nirdahati kintu kucha bhakti bhajan. Krishna reduces karma of devotee. So sometimes people go for a reading and they get very bad reading. They say, oh, you were a great rascal in the past life. And they think, okay, I can't do anything. I'll just sit and lament till the end of my life. One astrologer said to one person that in past life you messed up a lot with women, and in this life it's good if you help women. You will purify your Venus. And that may be advice to, if you have harming some people in the past life, in this life you serve them, women, children, whatever, whoever, any specific group. So we are not conditioned by our astrology and by the planets. This is what he is saying here too. If we assume that fruitive work is the cause of happiness and distress, we still are not dealing with the soul. The idea of material work, when there is a spiritual who is conscious and the material body that undergoes the transformation of happiness and distress as a reaction to such work. Since the body has no life, it cannot be the actual recipient of happiness and distress, nor can the soul, who is ultimately completely spiritual and aloof from the material body. Since karma thus has no ultimate basis in either the body or the soul, at whom can one become angry? So we can say you get angry at your fate or at your karma. Get angry. Now the next one, if we accept time as the cause of happiness and distress, that experience cannot apply to the spirit soul, since time is a manifestation of the Lord's spiritual potency, and that living entities are also the Lord's spiritual potency manifesting through time. Certainly a fire does not burn its own or sparks. The cold harm, nor does the cold harm its own snowflakes, nor does the cold harm snowflakes or hail. In fact, the spirit soul is accidental and beyond the experience of happiness and distress. At whom, therefore, should one become angry? He is arguing against becoming angry at anybody else, at anyone else. This is such liberation. This is such a liberation. People are just torturing themselves by criticizing and blaming others. Isn't it? By criticizing and blaming others, we are actually torturing ourselves. Now, the false ego gives shape to illusory material existence and thus experiences material happiness and distress. The spirit soul, however, is transcendental to material nature. He can never actually be affected by material happiness and distress in any place, under any circumstance, or by the agency of any person. A person who understands this has nothing whatsoever to fear from the material creation. Now, this is already a very high level. It seems that he has come to the beginning of this level. He understands the conditioning by the false ego, and he understands that the spirit soul is transcendental to material nature and to the false ego. And one who understands this, who has realized this deeply, he is fearless. He doesn't have any fears anymore. And now various verses come Gita. This is 57, and I will read Sanskrit because it's just such an important verse. We have like 4 verses to go to the end of the chapter. And there is a long purport, and he quotes actually Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and the whole purport speaks about sannyas. This is famous verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited it. Etam sa aya paratmanishtam adyasitam purvatamair maharshibhihi aham tarishyami turantaram tamo mukunda grinisheva yaiva. I shall cross over the insurmountable ocean of nations by being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. This was approved by the previous acharyas who were fixed in firm devotion to the Lord, Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's already somewhere else. He's not in this condition. People are torturing him, spitting on him, insulting him. And first thing he does, he first says, I'm not going to get angry at anybody. And he is listing to whom he will not get angry. And the next thing he says, I'm determined to cross over the ocean of material existence by engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, and this was done by the previous acharyas. So he's already taking shelter of the acharyas, of the parampara, of the devotional service of the Lord, and he's in a safe place. Although it seems like he's like a bum who is everybody is spitting on, but he's actually very elevated already. He has taken real sannyas. He has taken real sannyas. I will just from the purport to share with you. The whole purport is speaking about taking sannyas and difference between Dandi sannyasi, which is sannyasi, and Tridandi sannyasi, which is not a sannyasi. So Tridanda refers to do you remember Tridanda refers to Karmana, Manasa, Vacha, or yeah?
Word, mind, and speech.
Yeah. Yes. These 3 words. So completely surrendered to the service of the Lord. These 3, and then at the end, this famous verse from Upadeshamrita is quoted: Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udapasta vegam, etan vegan yo vishaheta dhiraha, sarvam apimam pritivim sashishya. So, who can become a guru? Who can become a preacher? One who can control the forces of speech, mind, anger, belly, tongue, known as a Goswami, and is competent to accept disciples all over the world. This also refers to sannyas. It says here that this verse advocates that one should accept the Tridanda sannyas order by controlling the 6 forces, controlling this Vacha vegam, Manasa krodha vegam, Jihva vegam, Udara pasta vegam. Forces of speech, belly, tongue, and genitals. Speech, mind, anger, belly, tongue, and genitals. Now this is the last verse in the Song of Apanti Brahmana. So there was about maybe, 10 verses or 15 verses where he is speaking, describing different things. It's not very long, this Song of Brahmana. Now the verse goes back to Krishna. Lord Krishna is speaking. Last 3 verses. Last 4 verses. Lord Shri Krishna is speaking. Becoming detached upon the loss of his property, this sage gave up his moroseness. He left home taking sannyas and began to travel about the earth. Even when insulted by foolish words, he remained unswerved from his duty, undeviated from his duty, and chanted this song. So here he chanted. It seems like he chanted repeatedly this song. And also, the last verse describes the benefits of listening to. Okay, but there are verses before the last verse. No one else besides his own mental confusion makes the soul experience happiness and distress. Now this is the same. He says the same thing. What experience happiness and distress? His own mental confusion. Who can swallow this? His perception of friends, neutral parties, and the whole material life he builds around are simply created out of ignorance. So important what perception we have, how we look at the world. Working hard to please their friends, defeat their enemies, and status quo with neutral parties. These relations are certainly based on the material body and do not exist beyond the body's inevitable demise. They are called ignorance or material illusion. Krishna has a story so that he can tell him something in the verse 60. In the next verse, he says, "My dear Uddhava, fixing your intelligence on me, like Avanti Brahmana, you should thus completely control the mind like Avanti Brahmana." I'm adding this like Avanti Brahmana because the whole story was spoken to this point. This is the essence of the science of yoga. Fix your intelligence on me, and in this way completely control the mind. And the last verse describes the benefits of hearing this story. This whole chapter 23 of the 11th canto. Anyone who listens to or recites to others this song of the sannyasi, which presents scientific knowledge of the truth, and who meditates upon it with full attention, will never again be overwhelmed by the dualities of material happiness and distress. So you can be listening, you are in this verse, you can be listening to you, this song. The result will be that we will never again be overwhelmed by the dualities of material happiness and distress. But, I have a point, it's not enough to hear it once. You may say, well, now I can go and take prasada peacefully. No, it's not enough to hear it once. And there, I have been preaching this chapter for at least in 5 countries, 5 times. And somewhere, I mean, I also work on the book. I don't know if it will be a book, but something, some written material. I don't know if I'm qualified to write a book, but I will do something from the transcriptions, try to present some points. And so this is the great benefit. And some, I don't know how, but this 23rd chapter just stands like this in my mind, like sticks out. Like maybe you have some parts of the stick out. And you think, wow, this is so important, this chapter. And for me, this is like, I mean, you know this verse 10, 14, 8. 10, chapter, canto 10, chapter 14, text 8, Tatenu Kampam Susamikshano Bunjana Evatma Kritam Pakam, you know, in the Bhagavad 12, 13, 14, in the purport, we read this, you read it. So this verse, basically this verse is very much related to this. And Srila Prabhupada, this verse, 10, 14, 8, Tatenu Kapam Susamikshano, should be the guide of all the. And this is elaboration on this, the whole chapter. Elaboration, how we should not blame responsibility and be grateful that we get less than we deserve. You may say, fair. It's not fair. But on the opposite side, you don't get what you deserve. You get less. And you think it's not fair, I'm getting too much. But actually it's opposite. So we are lucky to have this 11th canto also, because it has Uddhava Gita, like probably 20 chapters of this canto, maybe 19 chapters or something. Uddhava Gita starts maybe 5th chapter and goes to the almost the end, 29th. I think it has. Sure. Let me see what was the last chapter here. 30. Yeah, 30 chapters. So almost the whole canto is Uddhava Gita. And within Uddhava Gita there is Bhikshu Gita. What is Bhikshu Gita? Huh? Which one? Which part is called Bhikshu Gita? And what is Bhikshu? Bhikshu or Bhikkhu is also described in the Buddhist tradition. You didn't read Buddhist books. Bhikshu means mendicant. You know mendicant? You know what is mendicant? Can you translate mendicant into German? Mendicant? No. Mendicant is like a...
Merchant?
What?
Like a merchant?
No. Yeah. Mendicant is like a traveling monk.
Mendicant.
Who is usually poor. He begs sometimes, he gets whatever life brings him, he eats little, very, very austere, and usually he, maybe preaches a little bit or blesses somebody a little bit. So Bhikshu Gita is this chapter. This is Bhikshu Gita. So within Uddhava Gita is Bhikshu Gita. Yes.
Sometimes I think Nityananda Prabhu is also considered as a bhikshu, like a traveling
Yeah. Yes.
Because in one verse you say the best jewel among the mendicants.
Oh yes. I don't know what is the Bengali word for this. Avaduta.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Very nice. Thank you. This is a beautiful example. So also, Lord Nityananda is it's called homeless wanderer. I remember, I think it was in a Buddhist book when I was, before I joined reading, and I used 2 words, homeless wanderer, and I thought, wow, this is so nice. Maybe I had attachment to this lifestyle from previous life. And then after, I think, 20 Krishna consciousness, Krishna gave me that lifestyle again. I was dreaming lifestyle, but I was always in a place, more or less. Yes. So take your this 3 or 4 part seminar, and now we can discuss what we have discussed in the past 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and any points that you would like to clarify or to make a comment about this, and we can take our time now to discuss a little bit together. And also for the service of those who are online, who are listening online. There is devotees who are listening online. Yes?
I have a question on as well. If you have bad karma, like you have a lot of pain, I don't know, in which field, and you have so much pain that it's so strong that you cannot really fix the mind anymore because this pain is so prominent. Not apply this song.
What is your question?
What to do then?
When you have too much physical pain, mental pain, this pain should be used as an awakening to make us determined to find out what's the problem. So this pain has a purpose. It's not that we are pain just like this. Just there is, God is a little bit want to entertain himself that somebody is having pain and he's like a sadist, and he's enjoying our pain. No, pain is a message. Pain is a message from the Lord. You are doing something wrong. Think deeply. And there is always, there is strong pain, but there is always a few seconds where this pain stops. And this is when, even if it's think, and you can make a decision, I'm going to stop this nonsense. I'm suffering like a dog, like an ass. I have to stop this. Okay, now I'm going to suffer next couple of days, but I'm going to work on stopping all suffering. When I was a student, they give you 15-day test training for the army in Yugoslavia. And I went there because you have to go. It's by law. And there's like 50 people. I never slept with 50 people. I only slept with my brother or alone. But the room stinks. I mean, I was not born in a Irish family, a room full of perfumes. But still, they don't wash their feet. And they also, they're smoking, they're swearing, they're, eat onion and garlic. Man, at that time they eat meat. I was also eating meat, but I didn't like it. So, and then we get up, then we walk all day in the sunshine. Then, if you're good, then you are allowed to open one button. And you feel so much. One button. Have a shirt. And I said, never, ever, ever I'm going to go to the army. Never, even dead or alive. And then the time came, they invited me. And I did some funny things I don't want to tell you. To get free, but they didn't free me. They say you are fit. And I was thinking, we shall see. We shall see. Okay, so after some time, a couple of months, they invite me. It was winter. And I went. Started my regular term. And then first day that I started to shake. You have this, when they put you in order, in the morning, you have to start, and the officer passes, and you are standing like a real soldier. And I shake because it was cold, and I was thinking, if my body is shaking, maybe I should actually pretend that I'm disturbed. That I'm actually mentally disturbed. And then they say, what's happening? Okay, let's go to the ambulance, surgery. And they brought me there. And then two boys who are like medical, some stuff, they come with this injection, how is it called? Injection? Mm-hmm. What? Spritzer. Yes, spritzer. And they say, here is injection for pretenders, for cheaters. I'm not laughing, I'm just serious. And they gave me injection to calm me down. And 2 weeks I was it's not 2 weeks there, but maybe a few days there. Then they brought me to a special case, to the psychiatry. And they freed me. They freed me for 3 years, and in the meantime I joined Hare Krishna. I want to go back to this point. This pain and this horrible experience of having these two with all these boys, such determination that no matter what, at that time I was skinny. I got some weight, but I tried to reduce weight again to 50, 55 kilo. But I don't know, I mean, it helped a little bit. They checked my heart and there were some problems in how it beats. So that was one point. Another point, they found out I'm in a sect and 12 doctors. So they're very nice. And the doctor told me, you should come for therapy. Yes, I will come for therapy. Of course, make halava. Halava. And I gave her Bhagavad Gita and halava. And I never went to therapy. I went to temple therapy. So this pain actually made me so to never experience this again, to be, in the army and, learn how to kill. I mean, I'm not, maybe I'm a little bit belligerent. People don't like to kill people, unless they are complete demons. So this is maybe one example that how the pain is determined to stop the pain. That's the point. Otherwise, if everything is comfortable, we never change. We just, it's not so bad. I mean, maybe I go a little bit to heavenly planets, then get born on earth again. It's half heavenly, half hellish. So, but I don't know if I slip to the hellish planets a little bit, but maybe I should preach there or something. It's a little bit travel. So, Brahmanda, Bhumite, Kona, Bhagavan Ji, Krishna Prasad, Bhakti Lata Bija. The soul is traveling from universe to universe, to that part. So does this make sense to you? Yeah? The purpose of pain?
Yeah, in case of a terminal disease where you have only pain, then normally you get help from doctors to get relief of this pain.
Or you can take some painkillers and then get to some sanity and devotees can preach to you. Or the pain is the of the Lord to change. To change the way we think, to change our consciousness, to change our activities, to stop nonsense, stop sinful activities. And it is going to continue until we get it. So Krishna is always asking us, do you get it? We say yes, then we do nonsense again. You told me you got it, but it seems you didn't. Now do you get it? You see how much you are suffering. You're on the floor. You're crawling on the floor. You're crying. You fall in love with a girl. She doesn't want you. So, do you get it? I want you to grow. Oh, really? But I don't like you. I like this girl. But she will grow old. She is not this body. You don't know how she looks like. Krishna says. I say, well, that's right. I mean, I'm an illusion, sorry.
You really want to go back to Berlin?
But unfortunately, I'm in that category. At least I want to preach. Minimum. Yeah, we don't want to.
The better he thinks of us, it's more like
Mm-hmm.
in our heart. If we
So what is your
understand.
question? What is your question?
My question is it like this? Do we have to be eligible for going back home, back to God?
The price for going back to Godhead is lolyam. Lolyam means great eagerness or greed, great eagerness, a great desire. Even if you don't, somehow you have worked hard in past lives maybe, so somehow you develop this strong desire, he will come and take you. Even if you're so hard. But I'm saying that we are all an excuse not to go back to Krishna. Even it can be preaching or whatever. Okay, whatever he decides, if you elevate your consciousness, Krishna wants you to stay, you stay. Krishna wants you to go, you go. So you want to follow his desire. You're not thinking, I want this, I want that. Everybody in the material world says, I want this, I want that. So in spiritual life, slowly, we actually develop this mentality. Consciousness means you're ready to do anything for Krishna, you're ready to go back to God. So I'm saying that, imagine that he comes now and says, don't worry about anything. You say, I worry about so many things. He says, don't worry, I will liberate your family. I just want you now to me. You say, well, I'm not sure. So we can see where we stand now. If we put ourselves in this situation, projection, like Krishna is coming now, and he says, don't worry. Relatives are not your relatives, they are relatives in this lifetime. Why? And I will give them chance for devotional service. I will take care of them. But I want you now because you are such serious devotee. You're my eternal devotee. I'm not sure. I'm not ready. Maybe I can be a nice devotee with nice wife, nice house, going to India regularly on pilgrimage. What else you want in spiritual life? Whole shop downstairs? Then there is nothing to everything. So what is it that we want? I mean, we can speak to Krishna. In business. Anywhere. Okay, any other? Yes?
So I would like to notice that the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that it should be not the purpose of a devotee to leave this material world. And this is really very important to understand. When the people now come to ISKCON with only the purpose, because they have understood that they are here like in a prison, and they want to go away from the prison, and that's why do the devotional service. It is really wrong, and it is not the reason.
Prison is our low consciousness. Prison is not location. Although it is described as a location, location of prison, but the main thing is whatever Krishna wants. If he wants, you see, Prabhupada, from some devotees in their lectures, they said that Prabhupada didn't want to come. Didn't want to come. He said, but he did it because of his love for Krishna, because Krishna preach. I remember my guru was, my ex-guru was saying that Krishna told him, just go and write your books. Krishna told you the Prabhupada. So he did it.
Everything should be without purpose. And we should do devotional service. And doing devotional service from our subtle body, like he said that we change our bodies because we get automatically detached from our gross body when we die. This is like automatically, it dies and we get detached. But the subtle body is still there. I get confused with that because everywhere is Krishna. Somehow
It's very simple. He facilitates your illusion by his energies. He facilitates your illusion, your forgetfulness of him by his energies. So gives you material mind, gives you material senses, gives you material environment, opportunity to be a controller and enjoyer, so that you can discover that not your Facilitates. Make it easier. Make it easier that you have your illusion. He makes it easier for you to have your illusion by his energies, all these energies. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I have created good, I have created evil. Everything. He's created so we can have an experience in this world. We have our own. It's all about money. He was worth $2 billion. Now they're speaking. I don't believe that this. They're speaking about $1 trillion, and they owe China. So how do you count this money? I mean, if this paper money, how do you count it, and how do you know if make mistakes? Or it's all like electronic, like how do you call this? Become a good businessman. Actually, Shivaram Maharaj, who writes amazing books about Krishna Lila, he said